Hey everyone, you're listening to the Visually Stunning Movie Podcast, the place to come if you just want some good old-fashioned talk about movies. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter, VS Movie Podcast. You can just go to the website, vsmoviepodcast.com. We're on Google Podcasts, we're on Apple News, we're on Stitcher, we're on Spotify. Basically, you can find us pretty much anywhere you want to listen to us. We appreciate you listening. If you want to throw us a like, follow us on any of those outlets, and share us with your friends. We'd really appreciate it. And don't forget, if the best thing you can say about a movie is that it is visually stunning, then the filmmakers have done something dreadfully wrong. Now, let's get on with the show. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Visually Stunning Movie Podcast. I'm Mark. That's Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Hey.
This week, huge movie at the box office. Huge movie. I don't know if you've heard about it. There's some sort of superhero movie opening from Marvel called Captain Marvel. Apparently they have their own superhero now. Carries the brand. No, that's not what it is. Captain Marvel, played by Academy Award-winning actress Brie Larson. It is kicking us into Avengers Endgame here in a month and a half or so. So we're going to talk about it, but we have a special surprise for tonight. Those of you that have listened to us going way back know that there used to be three of us. And tonight, Jason makes a triumphant return to the microphone because he got a kitchen pass.
Yes, I did. And my notoriously inflexible schedule allowed it. So here we go.
Welcome back, Jason.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
And you got to see the movie on time, which is also a first in a while.
Yes, that's
on opening weekend.
Yeah, that hasn't happened since literally Infinity War. So.
Okay, well then good. We have a lot to talk about. Captain Marvel, a lot of hype from all directions.
Oh yes.
On Captain Marvel coming in. I'm going to start with a simple yes or no question for each of you. Jason.
Yes.
Was the movie entertaining?
Oh yes. I was thoroughly entertained.
Ryan, was the movie entertaining?
Yes.
Okay, then we agree, 3 for 3, that the movie was entertaining. The movie made a lot of money at the box office this weekend.
That's an understatement.
Now, we've had the discussion before, probably several times, that dollars does not equal quality. So the next yes-no question, and it's probably not going to be a yes-no question, Ryan, is the box office indicative of the overall quality of Captain Marvel? In your opinion, we're in the opinion phase here.
I don't know. I don't really like. I don't like that comparison.
Right, because dollars does not equal quality.
No, and I would guess. I mean, you know what? For some people, yes, it has been. For a lot of people, it has been.
That's a good answer. That's an excellent answer, Jason.
Okay.
Jason.
Oh no, I would say that the week-to-week box office performance is a better indicator of the actual quality of the movie, what people are honestly thinking of it. That being said, I would actually expect this one to have some legs.
Fair enough.
So,
Jason has he used to bill himself as just the guy that liked to watch movies, but he apparently was paying attention all those weeks when Ryan would talk about box office.
Yeah.
So, Jason, what did you like most about Captain Marvel?
Apparently I'm old enough now for my high school years to be considered a nostalgia piece. So that was interesting, the 90s nostalgia throwback. I really honestly liked the way Brie Larson played the character. I kind of liked her smart ass demeanor.
Sure.
And I thought it was a really fun, I know it's kind of a tainted term, but kind of prequel to the whole MCU. I do have some other thoughts on it. There's maybe a little bit more negative that we can get to later.
And we probably will. But yeah. So you liked Brie Larson's Captain Marvel?
Yeah, I thought she was fun. I thought her interaction with Samuel Jackson was pretty fun. Is the smart ass, and you got to bring something to the table if you're going to be playing against Samuel Jackson. Well, so I thought she held up very well against, Samuel Jackson, and just I thought she did a really good job. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, and I thought it was a fun romp down memory lane as far as the 90s go.
Okay. Ryan, what did you like most about Captain Marvel?
Well, I like that it has a standalone story for the most part. I think going in, my biggest concern was it was going to just be all about setting up Endgame, and I don't feel like that's what it was. I feel like it actually gave her a fairly decent story, and I think the focus was in the right place.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I agree with both of you. What I'm gonna agree. The thing that I did like most was Brie Larson's performance overall as Captain Marvel. Jumping off, Ryan, when you said the standalone storyline, I had all weekend. I watched this Thursday night. I had all weekend. I spent a beautifully relaxing weekend down in southern Utah, northern Arizona, on Lake Powell, and it was wonderful. But in the down times, I could get contemplative and think about the movie a little bit away from the glow of the screen. And what I've come to is that this kind of feels like the Thor films, in that the MCU, in my opinion, could survive without 98% of this movie. It's you know what I mean? It's not really as integral, and I know people are going to be like, "Why, you're insane," but storyline wise, I don't think it's as integral to the overall MCU as the Iron Mans and the Captain Americas and the Avengers films have been in the past. This feels more like Ragnarok, which was a fun movie, but really didn't. Yeah, I mean, if you don't watch it, you're not really missing a ton out of that overall MCU arc. Am I insane?
Well, given the time that it takes place, there's not really a whole lot of yardage that this movie could have moved the ball down the field, so to speak. I mean, so I don't know how it really could have added a whole lot to it other than establishing a backstory to the MCU, which I had a really good time with. But yeah, I kind of see where you're going, where it does kind of stand alone, but I don't, and this kind of goes to my negative thoughts about the movie, I don't see where there was any room for it to do that.
Ryan, am I insane?
No, but I don't think it's a bad thing.
No. Well, like I said, I enjoyed Ragnarok, but this movie has that same kind of feel for me, as part of the greater universe.
Well, sure. I mean, it's character development for Nick Fury. It's character development for Coulson. Is that necessary? Well, Nick Fury hasn't played a major role in the series in quite some time, so maybe it isn't necessary. But I think that serving the giant storyline should not be the film's primary purpose.
No, and we've talked about that too, because I've said it. The film has to be able to stand on its own, which it does. And I don't have a problem with that, but if it's going to be it's got to do both. It's a fine line.
See, and I don't think it needs to. I don't think it has to.
You don't think it has to do both?
No.
But they're setting it up as doing both. That's what they want.
A little bit, but not as much as I think that people expected. I think a lot of people expected it to do certain things, and that was never in there. I think they tied it in to the overall universe. I don't think it's all that different from what you actually see in traditional comic books, where you have these things, line up when they need to, but for the most part, they kind of operate in their own space and are allowed to have their own personality.
Good. Now, I love playing devil's advocate. Let's keep going.
Years in the future, I might look back and say, "What was I on?" I would venture to say that this movie, instead of maybe adding to the current Avengers storyline, the toward the end game, it's actually laying the groundwork for the post Thanos MCU. It might be the first step in that direction.
And depending on how that plays out, that might be the case.
Yeah,
but there's 100 ways they could do Endgame without Captain Marvel and kick off Phase 4.
And
so is this movie going to date as well? Is it going to age as well 5-6 years down the road?
I mean, it's already aged.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Yes, yes, it has.
So, I mean, look, I don't. Is this absolute essential top shelf Marvel? No, but is it a fun, entertaining film that we might be looking in a different light if Marvel had been smart enough to actually have female leads earlier on in the process? Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on this film to replicate certain. I don't know, maybe the critical acclaim of Black Panther, and that's not easy, and there are a lot of people who hate Black Panther. So, I mean, I think this film gets singled out a little bit, for better and for worse, because of the, I guess Wonder Woman in a way blazed that trail a little bit, and then this knocked the door down. But I think that it's I mean, your opinion of this film is it is a loaded question as well in a way.
And everything about this film is loaded, and it has been leading up to it. So that's why I'm trying to nuance this, because some people don't want to talk nuance. But let me tangent for 1 second. You said this film's already aged. Was I the only one that was really not happy with young Coulson? With that de-aging? That I could forget that Samuel L. Jackson was being digitally de-aged. Every time I saw Coulson, I was creeped out. And it's the same vibe I got from Tarkin when they recreated him in the Star Wars universe.
Well, I think the problem is we know. And granted, we do know Samuel Jackson as well, but I think it's just the fact that we know that they've been de-aged and that they've. I think maybe if we came into it blind, like my mother, who has seen all the Marvel films, but I would dare to guess could not tell you the plot of half of them. I love her. Anyway, I don't think that she would even realize that he was de-aged. Because he wasn't, he was never a big enough character in the movie universe. He was kind of the bubblegum that sticks things together.
Yeah, like I said, that's not a huge thing, because he really wasn't as prominent in this film as maybe I might have liked personally.
And I don't know, one of them with it is, I don't know, maybe it's just me looking. Clark Gregg doesn't look particularly old to begin with. So
no, not really.
So it's, I mean, okay, I saw an old one from, I think it was Young Indiana Jones. I'm looking at a picture here, and it's not too far off of what he looked like. He was kind of funny looking when he was younger. He doesn't look like what you'd expect looking at current Clark Gregg. So,
Jason, you enjoyed the nostalgia of the 90s.
We knew she was going to crash into the blockbuster,
right?
But when she was, going to the Radio Shack of all things, I called that
Radio Shack, and then the Internet Cafe where she was searching on Alta Vista.
It was the Melancholy and Infinite Sadness album release in the record store. Which, okay, first of all, you have a record store, or a music store, and then you have Melancholy and Infinite Sadness by the Smashing Pumpkins. It was like, oh my God, I know exactly when this movie's taking place.
Yeah. Well, okay.
So
music.
It was just funny.
Music plays a big part in this.
Yeah, absolutely. 1995.
Yes.
So, they were. It felt to me like the musical choices and the musical use in this film, they were trying to replicate Guardians 1 to get that kind of emotional punch out of their musical selections.
Well,
is that fair?
For, I would say, I think in Guardians, it's actually there and part of the movie, whereas I think it could be argued that these songs are maybe not actually being played in those moments where the songs are actually being played.
Well, that's not even. Well, that's probably about half and half, truth be told. But I, like I said, that was just a feel I got that they were trying to replicate that, to bring those songs in and make them characters as part of the film.
I don't know. I thought they were just kind of That might have been one that some of them were kind of played as the how to put it,
fan service.
Almost fan servicey, or to add that much more audience punch.
I have that written down. Fan service.
Yeah,
there's a lot of fan service in this film. Can we agree on that?
Oh yes. And hey, you know what? That's cool.
Well, it can go too far. You can over fan service J.J. Abrams, your fan base, and then force the director that comes after you to totally screw it up. But that aside, I liked all the 90s stuff too. I just felt like they were... Ryan, remember when we talked about Guardians 2 and how they would let jokes go just a little too long?
Sure.
Did it feel like that in a couple spots, like the CD with the black box audio?
No, actually, I liked that moment.
Well,
that moment I liked.
But not necessarily that particular bit dragged on too long, but that was just the culmination of, we get it. She's come from a technologically advanced place. This is not, there aren't helicarriers with holographic displays. She's searching on Altavis, but it just felt like they just kept going, hey, this is 1995. Hey, this is 1995.
Well, yeah,
and probably 30% of the audience has no idea what life was like in 1995.
But maybe now they do.
No. You know what? I don't even care how much they could pack in this film. They're still not going to know the struggle of living in 1995.
Yeah, when it actually took that long for an audio disc to load.
Yes. So it's like I said, it's just, these are little things that jumped out at me that I mentioned here. But like I said, overall, I mean, it's an entertaining movie. I agree with Ryan. This is not a top shelf Marvel film.
No.
It's still not the best Captain movie in the MCU.
Well, but that could be because the best MCU movie is a Captain movie.
Well, that's true. And I'll bet we'll all argue about which one that is when we all know it's the Winter Soldier.
Can't disagree.
I know you would.
I'm fine with that.
So, but no, okay. So I'm sitting here and I'm throwing out things I've noticed, and everyone out there is probably just screaming at me.
I would say, okay, I'll take some of the heat too. Was I the only one that cringed when Celebrity Skin by Hole was in the final credits? It's just like, really, all of this, and you're closing it with Courtney Love.
Well, I could do without Courtney Love in a lot of ways.
I mean, that's pretty representational, though. I mean,
I don't know. I think there could have been better choices for that. I'm drawing a blank at the moment, but I think there could have been better choices at that moment.
I don't know. I mean, they hit all the. I mean, I felt like they hit a lot of different corners of '95, particularly as far as the female artists go. And are there ones that I could have done without? Yes, but I think that listening to it, it's kind of a representational of how insane popular music was at that point, and how ambiguous it was to a certain extent. I mean, I not my favorite time in the history of music.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so I want to wrap this part up because I want to talk about controversy and roll into spoilers. Spoiler discussion, I should say.
Since I haven't actually got to elaborate on it, could I say, and I've hinted at it twice, I don't want to leave that thread dangling.
Go ahead.
Before it goes into spoilers. And I did say the biggest negative I had on the movie, and Mark, you're an author, you could get this. Anytime I'm any type of storytelling, I hate when the uber weapon is introduced after the first act, or maybe early in the second act. So my biggest negative with this movie is when the MCU, I mean, because we all, if you know, it just makes me cringe that.
Okay, so we're gonna roll into spoilers there in a minute.
Okay, but I'm just gonna say I don't think it's much of a spoiler to say you're gonna walk out of this movie saying Thanos gonna get his ass kicked.
And we're gonna just I don't want to give this movie a score because scores about this film are going to be interpreted on both sides by nothing. So don't give me a number. Say, you're going to tell a Marvel fan to go watch this film?
Oh yeah.
right? You're going to go watch it. Are you going to tell a casual comic book fan to go see this film?
You know, it depends. It depends on a person. There are some that I might. I think some casual fans might really like it. It might be a good point of entry.
Okay, Ryan.
I would say definitely I would recommend it to people who don't traditionally or who feel like I think there's the problem with the MCU is it's so sprawling at this point that a lot of people have a hard time jumping in and because they feel like they're missing so much of what's going on, and I think this film is a place that you can just jump in and enjoy as a popcorn film.
Okay, that is an excellent point and a jumping off point when we get to the second half. I too will tell comic book fans, casual comic book fans, even just if you're an action film person, you'll probably enjoy this. If you're not necessarily a comic book superhero, you probably enjoy it from an action movie standpoint. Because it's got enough action bits between a lot of talky talk.
Yeah.
So now, if you're still listening because you don't hate everything that I said about this film, we're gonna talk about some of the controversy, and we're gonna talk about, and that's gonna roll into spoilers, I think, a little bit. So there's gonna be some spoilers.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard not to.
I apologize. So turn it off now. Come back after you've seen the movie, and you can listen to us talk about this. 3, 2, 1. Now we're in spoilers. Sorry, people. Jason.
Yeah.
Is she too overpowered?
The overpoweredness, I think it's, from what I know, and I am by no means an expert, I have very cursory knowledge of the character. I will admit that. Seems about right because she's touted as being one of the most powerful of the Marvel characters. So, yeah, it's just like, yeah.
Okay, let me rephrase, because you are correct about the comics. When it comes to what Marvel has built toward in their last two Avengers film, is she way too overpowered?
And that is my biggest complaint about it, is they waited until now to introduce the weapon that's going to take Thanos out, because we already knew Thor couldn't do it, who was the most powerful Avenger.
Right.
And
well, he could have. He just went for the wrong part of the body.
That's true.
He went for the high probability center of mass hit. That's been debated to death.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably a good thing that I can say my biggest complaint about the movie is the overall narrative about the structure that it takes place in.
Okay.
I can't complain about the movie at all. I kind of don't like when it's being introduced into the MCU.
Fair.
Because, like, right just before the conclusion, here's a weapon that's going to take down the bad guy. Oh, because we made the bad guy too powerful, and now we got to fix it.
Okay, so Ryan, what do you think of that? Is this an attempt to rebalance the Marvel universe?
I think it's a kind of a tired argument. Superman has been this powerful, and the only thing holding him back is being a head case. And I mean, in the case of this film, she was being literally held back by people who wanted to manipulate and use her. I mean, Thanos is pretty overpowered, if you want to go into that.
Well, but again, that's part of the problem.
And maybe it is, but I think, but no one really. No one was all that upset with I mean, Thanos is that powerful in the comics, and Captain Marvel's that powerful in the comics, and I think to water them down isn't necessarily a good thing. I mean, is it the best narrative choice? I mean, if you look at the history of comics, they've made a lot of really bad narrative choices along the way that they've had that they've had to somehow figure out and fix. So I mean, the idea that they knew from the very beginning how all 20 whatever films of the MCU were going to play out for this first storyline, it's garbage.
Oh yeah,
they
didn't know.
They've made it up as they went along, more so I think than a lot of people realize. So is she overpowered? I don't know. I mean, would she be an excellent showdown with Thanos? Maybe, but they might not even go that route. I mean, they might go an entirely different. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time Marvel played, seemed to be showing its cards and then went in a different direction.
Fair enough. Let's talk for a second about the opening credit, the opening sequence pre-film, the Marvel logo.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything controversial.
No. We're not talking. We're talking. That is the Stan Lee tribute that started rolling, and as soon as you realize what you're doing, yeah, you get a little weepy.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, got a little weepy, because that's like something Stan would have come up with. You know, if you believe that Stan was all about marketing Stan, that's exactly what Stan would have done.
Oh yeah.
So I thought that was that, and yet it was still understated and tasteful.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great. His cameo.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as they showed what he was reading, I laughed out loud.
Perfect 1995 reference.
I thought that was awesome. I did. I literally laughed out loud at that. That was because A, one of my favorite movies. So, you know, and then B, you realize that's his last cameo, and he's using the phrase "true believer." And if that doesn't get you right in the feels, you have no soul.
Mark, you took the words out of my mouth, and can I say that, like, the Kevin Smith Jersey trilogy and all that is probably why I'm doing this podcast now. Like, I am not kidding. Those early Kevin Smith movies are what turned me more from kind of a casual fan to kind of being nuts about movies. So yeah, that really hit a place for me. And also with it being Stan Lee's first real movie cameo, or first real movie part, I guess you could say. Yeah, the first one to come out posthumously. It's like, wow, that couldn't have gone full circle any better.
Stan could not have written that better.
No.
I just thought that was great.
I'm sorry, Ryan. I think I stepped on you there.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Okay.
What do you guys think about the actual controversy on this film? And I say actual, meaning the one that's been on all the news. Not lending credence to it either way, just the one that's been in the news. Ryan.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Which one do you mean?
Oh,
be specific.
That this is an anti-male film, basically. To boil it down to its nitty-gritty.
No. It's not an anti-male film. You can celebrate women without placating men. I guess people might have a problem with the fact that this character doesn't rely on men to be her moral compass, or, you know, I mean, but it's not as if every woman in this film is good and every man in the film is a bad guy. I mean, it's I think people are probably reading a little too much into it, or they actually haven't seen the movie.
What?
Which is actually more likely than not. Although, you know, looking at the box office numbers, they're probably feeling pretty idiotic at this point, but they'll back it up with something about how it's inflated and how Alita still is going to do better worldwide because for some reason they like that movie rather than this one.
I don't know that I like one of those better than the other. We had issues with Alita, but I have issues with this, but I think this is better.
I think this is better too. I mean, I like Alita for some of it, but I think that this was less problematic. I mean, to be completely honest, if this was my film, if they came and handed it to me and said, "What do you think?" I would say, reshoot the first act, or re-edit a lot of the stuff that happens in the first act. I thought it was pretty jumbled.
It was a little messy. Was the tone uneven just to me? Like it couldn't decide if it wanted to be. And again, this goes back to my comment about Thor, where I can see it almost feels like if she gets more solo movies, it's going to be more comedic. But then her, you know, the stinger in the credits where she's, you know, where's Fury? Like she'll show up on Earth, and all of a sudden, like Thor, she's Captain Serious.
Well, I think
she got an intergalactic.
Yeah. I mean,
she got an intergalactic 911 call. She's not in the mood to screw around.
Right, but the movie just felt like it couldn't decide if it wanted to be not as slapsticky as some of the Thors have been.
Well, I would disagree. I think the movie itself is pretty comedic, although not to the extent of Thor: The Guardians. I think the post-credits scene is the attempt to make it more in line with the utter darkness that is where the MCU is once you step outside of Ant-Man. And I mean the story. I mean the next film is called Endgame, and they're not joking. But
like I said, even Thor. You get to the end of Ragnarok, which is funny all the way through, and you get to Thanos' ship, and all the Asgardians are dead. And then you get to the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, which has been a funny haha thing, and then Ant-Man's trapped in the quantum realm and everyone else is dust. You know, so but then I'm just wondering. I don't know if Captain Marvel is going to be now. Which Captain Marvel are we going to get? Are we going to get the one that likes to make smart ass comments in Endgame, or are we going to get, you know, Thor, son of Odin, serious in the Endgame with Captain Marvel? I don't know which way they're going to play her.
All I'm going to say is, if there's not a showdown between the mouths of Captain Marvel and Tony Stark, if there's no banter there, I mean, if we don't get, I mean, the Taming of the Shrew, or, you know, whatever you are, As You Like It, or any of the kind of the classic Shakespearean battle of the sexes sort of thing, I am going to be disappointed, because this is probably our only chance to get it, and I think it could be marvelous.
So So basically, you want the most powerful woman in the universe to go up against the most chauvinistic male in the Marvel Comics universe.
Not to go up again.
Well, you know what I mean. You want to see them go head to head. You know you do.
I don't
verbally
want to see
speaking.
them fight. Yes, verbally. I want them to have a mutually. I want them to have fun with it. I think it's possible. I don't think. I mean.
But can they in the context of Endgame?
I think there's moments where they definitely can.
But I think
it's what's going to get Stark back into the fold. I think she's going to be the one that rescues him and Nebula.
Well, I don't know. She's on Earth, and they don't even know that he's alive. So again, that's a whole other episode. We could do Endgame predictions if you guys want in another week.
Yeah.
When we can all get together, we can just do Endgame predictions,
and we'll be wrong.
And we'll all be wrong in completely different ways.
Yes.
Cool.
But no,
another spoiler, real quick. The big reveal in this movie is light speed technology, not, as has been widely circulated, time travel.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think about that?
I think it was they were setting themselves up to be a little problematic, and they sidestepped it.
Yeah.
So now if time travel's an issue, now we're back to the quantum realm.
Sure.
So again, there's no time. So we got head faked on that.
Yeah.
Is the flirk? Let me ask this. This is probably going to be the most humorous yet controversial question I ask in this section. Is the Flurkin the Jar Jar Binks of Captain Marvel?
Heavens no.
No, you have cats. You know that.
But that's not a cat. That's a fucking Flurkin.
Yeah.
Is there a difference?
My cats don't have tentacles that shoot out of their mouths.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure. I've seen them have some hardcore vomit. No tentacles.
They could be the most dangerous creature in the universe.
Well, they are the most dangerous creatures in the universe. I'm not even debating that.
Hey, you know what? I think the fact that they went with the cat and stuck with the cat is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
People called that as costing. Spoiler alert, Nick Fury's eye. Oh, okay. Since we're spoiling, riddle me this, Batman. Either of you, don't care. Riddle me this. At the end of the film, Coulson brings in that box of fake eyeballs.
Yeah.
Implying that his eye has been removed, and yet we know that in Winter Soldier, he still has his eye. It's just fucked up. That continuity. That's just me. I caught that. That just pissed me off. I'm like, seriously? So they wanted a fake eyeball gag, even though they didn't need one.
Well, let's twist that and say Coulson is pawning him at that point.
Oh, don't try to be here, Brian.
Or contemplating removing it, and somehow they save the eye, but I don't know. I'm retconning and trying to justify it right now. So.
I know.
Yeah, it could be a plot hole.
I just thought it was a funny bit.
And it is. They wanted a fake eye joke, and they got one. What else do I have in my notes?
But also, I mean, he doesn't actually end up using one.
No, because he still has an eye.
Well, I think, and there's the kind of element of disgust where it's like, am I really reduced to that's not who I've become? You know, maybe old or young Nick Fury, as the case would be, would have been, But I mean, Nick Fury at the beginning of this film was radically different than Nick Fury at the end of this film. And I think that's one of the things that's enjoyable about the movie, is seeing Nick Fury as we've probably never imagined him. I mean, and then do they push it? Maybe.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of fun to see Samuel L. Jackson do that as well.
Oh, no, Samuel L. Jackson can do no wrong.
There, so.
Yeah, what else? I don't know. Anyone got anything else they want to talk about on spoilers? Or continuity, or anything else?
No, just kind of food for thought. And it's one, I remember the first trailer came out when everybody was saying is she ever going to smile? My God.
Yeah.
Do you think that was an intentional head fake, or was it basically a trolling move?
No, if it was an intentional head fake, it would have been the same thing as trolling. I think they were just trying to play up the action sequence. And when she's working, she's serious. And when she's not working, she's not. And like I said, that was my tonal thing. She was, you know what I mean? So I just think that was the way the trailer.
I don't know. I mean, if you go back to the fight on the ship where she's
almost Spider-Man in her ship.
Well, you know what though? Well, she had come into her own at that point.
Okay, but I mean I think maybe she came into her own at that point, but I think we all have to work our way through things, and sometimes the stress of a situation strips our personality away. I mean, I didn't really see a tonal inconsistency.
I just saw it. Like I said, she was kind of a smartass at a lot of times, and it was like, well, did they do this as a trolling move, just because to try to steer the conversation?
I just think that was the way the trailer wound up getting cut. I honestly don't think they thought that far ahead.
No, and I think that, I mean, is there trolling in the movie? If there is, it's not based on what someone said about the trailer.
No. I was thinking they anticipated the backlash that it was going to have after seeing The Last Jedi, after Force Awakens, after
they did absolutely 100%,
everything 100%. Else, and they were like, you know what? Let's give them something to talk about so they don't talk about anything important.
No, well, I think that they made a woman a superhero woman without apologies. She is who she is, and if you don't like her, well, you don't like her.
Right. And I was going to say that if there was a trolling move in this, it was in the end battle when the music they chose was "I'm Just a Girl." Because they probably made that choice well into editing.
And I don't know. I disagree entirely.
See now, but if there was a trolling move in the film, that's the one I would have called. I would call that a trolling move.
If you take 1995 and you list big
that song was hits, huge,
but it's also perfectly applicable to the trolls.
And I wouldn't be shocked if it's the first thing that got written into the script when they decided it was set in 95. If they said, okay, we're going to have a set piece around No Doubt,
and we'll never know.
I think it was. To be honest with you, I thought that was a little too on the nose. And the audio mix where they lower the song so that people can talk and then raise the song back again was a strange choice, I think, as well. But I think that was probably shortlisted as songs that will be in this film, should they let us, at the very beginning of this whole exploration of, okay, we're going to sit in the 90s. What year do we do? What year was, were a popular year for female artists, and so
I'd agree with Ryan. I'm betting it was one of those like, get this song, I don't care how much it costs, write them a check.
I'll bet they didn't have to pay Gwen Stefani that much for that song.
It's the recording whoever has the rights to it.
I know, but I'll bet she owns it.
It depends on the contract.
Yeah.
But I'd agree with Ryan though. It's probably no. This is going to happen. I don't care how much it costs.
Fair enough. So, you know what? And again, we'll never know.
Yeah.
That's what's fun about this kind of stuff. Oh my goodness. Captain Marvel. $100 bajillion, right? That's what it made? 100 bajillion?
Oh. What was it?
Half a bajillion.
450.
Yeah, so half a bajillion dollars.
That's insane.
Worldwide. Worldwide. That was not in the United States. That's worldwide, people. So, cool your jets a little bit. Maybe like 155, I think, states, something like that.
I'm looking at 153, yeah.
150, yeah. So, $1.50, solid opening.
Yeah, but Endgame is going to do 200 to 300.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
It's just a question of how many times can they show it in a day and how many theaters can they book it in.
Well, it's going to be 3 hours long. That is also a limiting factor.
Well, and that's why I think it's more of a number of I think people still see it.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just a question of how many theaters can you get it into. And
yeah.
There's lots of negotiations that go behind the scenes regarding with Disney and demands that they make about things having to be in theaters for a certain stretch of times and a number of theaters. That who knows how that's going to play out.
I expect it to be a near lockout on its opening weekend, as in there just won't be. There'll be like one other movie showing, at least a Thursday and Friday,
and it'll probably be Captain Marvel still. So.
Yeah,
and Dumbo.
And
and Dumbo.
Hey, we're not. And you know what? We're done. We're not talking about Dumbo.
And Shazam. There you go.
Okay, you know what?
So those are your options.
We could talk about Shazam later, but I wouldn't end the episode for Shazam. But I will end it for Dumbo.
All right. Well,
I will end it on Dumbo. Anyway, so everyone, thanks very much for listening to the Visually Stunning Movie Podcast as we talked about Captain Marvel, and welcome Jason back. Hopefully, we'll get him again in the future.
Yeah,
Schedule
probably. And Endgame will probably be about the only one in the foreseeable future. So I'll try to make that happen.
But it was nice to have you back.
Oh, thank you. It was great to be back.
And you are welcome anytime.
All right.
Anytime, you're welcome back. Ryan, thanks for taking an hour out of your day.
Yeah, got to go back to editing.
Oh, go back to editing.
Got
to go back to his day job.
Yeah.
So next week, Ryan, are you going to see Captive State?
It's not being shown to us, so probably not, because I'll need to see Wonder Park. So
okay, then we'll do
see.
Wonder Park next week. I will see that. I'm going to see Captive State because I want to see it, because they hid it from me and it annoyed me. So next week we'll do Wonder Park, and then the week after that, clock's ticking. Us is out the week after that.
Yeah.
Jordan Peele's new movie, which looks promising. Looks promising. So we'll do those. We'll do those the next couple weeks for you. Till next time, I'm Mark. That's Jason. Bye, Jason.
Bye.
And that's Ryan. Bye, Ryan.
See you guys.
And we will talk to y'all later.